Welcome to Milestone's April webinar. Today's topic is how to convert your credit union and bank website into a customer acquisition channel. I'm Gaurav Verma. I'm the Director of Marketing, moderating this session today. Before we begin, um, basically, this session is getting recorded. These slides will also be distributed to you. So look out for an email from us by tomorrow. We have two incredible speakers with us. Sathya Krishnamurthy, he's our Chief Product Officer. He leads product development from inception to full launch. Prior to joining Milestone, Sathya worked at companies like Zenga, Reputation.com, and Meta. And joining him is Mike Supple. Mike is the head of customer solutions. He's our internal subject matter expert. In the past, Mike worked at Meta. Thank you, Sathya and Mike, for joining the webinar. And before we jump into the content, a little background about Milestone. Milestone is a leading provider of digital marketing software and solutions. Our mission is to drive online discovery, and we do that by building search technology natively inside our platform. We won numerous awards over the years, mentioned on Search Engine Land, several mentions on Forrester reports, and we've been G2 category leaders. So that's a little about us. Mike, next slide. Today, we will be covering basically trends impacting the financial services industry. We will be talking to you about how to build the next generation of digital experiences. And then we wrap up with case study and talk you through. This is a very, this is an interactive session. So feel free to stop me anywhere and ask any questions. We want to make it interactive as possible. With that, let me invite Sathya to kick us off with key trends.
Hey, everybody. The topic was a fairly interesting one. We wanted to talk about how do you convert your website into a customer acquisition channel. Now, when we started discussing this topic internally, one of the common things we want to understand is like, what are the digital trends that financial services need to be aware of? What is driving some of the market trends? What is driving some of the current challenges that we need to be aware of, so that we can effectively come up with a strategy and execute on this. Now, first and foremost thing, with the advent of Instagram and Amazon and mobile app, the consumer behavior is drastically changing. They want a very personalized, very shopping-like, video-like experience everywhere. So any type of vanilla traditional financial services website is not something that they're going to appreciate. So if they are seeing a very personalized search on Google, they want a lot more interactivity and a lot more engaging website. The second big thing is there is a lot of digital models that the financial services teams are building out in terms of member acquisition. But understanding this customer journey is going to be a lot more critical in these models. And having just plain simple landing pages is not just it's not going to function. It's not going to work anymore. It's becoming more and more complex. With the advent of AI search, that's another huge game changer that's happening in the recent times. Both Google and Bing have significantly ramped up their what we call as the AI search model. Google with the search generative experience and Bing with its own OpenAI integration. They are really changing the search landscape, right? And as I talked about personalized user experience, if you go to Amazon or if you go to Instagram or if you go to Facebook or a TikTok, all of this is basically customizing it to your preferences, your interests. So how do I make sure that the bank and my financial services websites are not make sure that they are personalized, and how do I make sure that they are personalized in a cookieless world? I'll get into that slightly. I'll get into this in depth in next few slides, right? And last piece of this is that there is a huge opportunity with Gen AI in terms of automation. But there are certain concerns with leveraging Gen AI within a financial services industry. How can then financial services effectively leverage this problem, leverage Gen AI, leverage this incredible technology, and use it effectively within their organization, right? Now, I want to get to the next slide and give some idea of what are all the applications that right now financial services are looking at in leveraging GenAI within the financial services industry. The first and foremost thing, some of the credit unions are looking at, or banks, in fact, are using GenAI for omni-channel experiences. What that means is they are basically building full omni-channel experiences which are curated by GenAI. They are making sure that the images, content, all of this is getting built and built through GenAI, and customer segmentation targeting is all driven through GenAI, right? Another which way that financial services are using GenAI is in customer support, and there's a huge opportunity there, both in terms of automation, scale, efficiency. Now, just in this part where I think Ernst & Young report basically said that financial services can literally improve the efficiency of their workforce by up to 30% just by leveraging conversational customer support backed by GenAI. It only not gives a training material for their customer support teams, but also augments their or improves the engagement of the customers and encourages them to participate more in the conversation with the customer support teams. Data synthesis is another huge problem. There is plethora of data coming. Whenever I run an omni-channel campaign, there's plethora of data that is coming in. How do I synthesize data? How do I understand what is working, what is not working? The next big thing the banks and credit unions suffer is from engineering efficiency. Every time an SEO team will come in and say, hey, I want this particular optimization done on the website. I want to deploy personalization. It goes into a queue. It takes probably 3-4 sprints before that gets executed. Now, GenAI comes in and it's helping accelerate engineering and QA, and it also helping accelerate deployment. Some of the technologies like Microsoft Copilot is really accelerating a lot of development of bringing in engineering efficiency within an organization. Of course, the big part of personalization, we talked about personalized experiences and delivering personalized experiences. There is hundreds and hundreds of articles that are out there on personalization and how some of the big institutions are leveraging personalization. But as we go down the tier, personalization gets more and more expensive. And building some of this infrastructure becomes more and more expensive. So how can then credit unions and banks leverage personalization, or is it just limited to big players in the market? That's something that is becoming a huge challenge. And GenAI-backed personalization just takes the whole personalization experience to the next level of building content and building experiences dynamically based on the user persona. And finally, for multi-location branches, or even for where corporate and individual locations are separated out, building data insights on how the branch is performing, what are the things that are working within the branch, what are the things that are building some of these automated insights rather than just sharing data is going to make the branches work better. Even the SEO manager sitting in a branch can actually think slightly more differently how to improve the efficiency of some of the digital acquisition channels for that particular branch, then rather than just look at a huge volume of data. See, these are some of the things that are being actively used, being experimented by financial services within with GenAI. But having said that, there is something else that is going on. We talked about this search generative experience and how Google is changing the search generative experiences. Now, as I'm thinking about GenAI, I'm thinking about the overall customer trends. I also need to go back and think about what does this mean in terms of customer acquisition and this whole search generative experience that is creeping up. With the search generative experience, or I would rather call it AI search, because Google has a search generative experience, Microsoft has its own AI search with OpenAI. There is a huge need for changing the mindset on how we write content. We need to start thinking about writing helpful content rather than rather than writing normal content. So what is the difference? In a helpful content, I'm really addressing the customers of Google, meaning Google wants you to take its customers and address their problems rather than talk about what business that you do. Instead of telling me, oh, I'm a credit union, or I'm a bank and I have savings account, checking account, these products, tell the customers how your products and features and your organization is going to help the search engine customers, and that makes a huge difference. And I want to be able, and in terms of customer acquisition and building customer loyalty, and as well as it improves the search visibility. Local identity is something that has been there forever, but more and more emphasis right now is being placed on local identity, because if you are a multi-location business, if you have branches, if you have locations, having a strong local identity makes you present on a lot of these local searches. And search generative experience and AI search plays. Look up some of this information to make sure that they are showing you up in some of these searches. Schema markup cannot be emphasized. We have been a leader or pioneer in the schema markup space, I don't know, for 7 or 8 years, and we have very strong product line. And as we see the need for schema and combining AI search and schema and having an entity optimization is almost mandatory right now for you to rank and for you to be visible and for you to be understood by the search engine, so that you can start you can start bringing in more and more customers to your channel. The last part, this is something it's a significant problem, particularly because a lot of the credit unions and banks today are on monolith architecture. What that means is that website technical health is fairly poor. Having a very, very strong website technical health, having your data available to the customers at the edge of the network is going to be almost critical. So leveraging technologies like CDN, leveraging technologies like cloud infra, all of this is going to be critical for you to ensure that you're able to deliver a very strong user experience. All of this is going to make sure that your website and the content on your website and your identity are all visible on search engines, are available for next generation of search that's coming up. This means that your marketing channel, your website channel is actually going to be visible for search engines. And and here are a couple of examples where some of these best practices that we have implemented and how they are coming up on searches, and what are all the places where some of these content is being leveraged by these search engines. And of course, Mike will actually take you through some of this when he is doing his part of the session. But I cannot stress enough the importance of some of these core functionality in order for financial services to become successful in the new trends that are emerging in the ecosystem.
So, Sathya, you might like to point out that these results are getting powered through Milestone's platform, and as you notice,
we'll be getting to that later in the yeah. Now, when you go and look at some of these pages and some of these results, you will see the best practices and how these best practices are basically built into the platform, and they are helping customers drive results. The next piece of this is essentially it's actually a fairly interesting problem, and this is not just limited to financial services, but we see this across the board. There is content that is being created, and there is and every single business that we talk to, they are creating a plethora of content, but then the content itself is not visible. So first and foremost, you need to figure out how to make sure my content is visible. Having said that, I need to then understand my customer journey and build content for every stage of my customer journey. Of course, we talked about local listings and how to make sure my local listings are powerful, they are powered, and make sure that my local listings drive the top of the funnel. The more precise and accurate local listings that you have, much better awareness that you're going to bring in, on much better top of the funnel that you're going to bring in. The next in the sequence is essentially when you get into the consideration, you need to think about financial calculators. You need to think about mortgage rates. You need to think about FAQs. You need to you need to think about how can I bring my professionals or my wealth management advisors, my mortgage loan officers out in the front so that they are found and they are discovered, and your customers can start engaging with them. And then, of course, having comparisons between multiple product offerings and which product makes more sense basically improves the engagement, drives a lot more conversions, and improves the it's not just stops at the awareness, but they start actually engaging with your website. Finally, in order for you to do a lot more engagement, you have to think about building landing pages and building a lot more powerful, helpful content. Having a strong reputation management is also going to be very critical, and having conversational engagement. This is where we talked about how GenAI is powering conversational customer support. This is where that's where your engagement model comes in, wherein be it landing pages or reviews and testimonial, or having conversational systems backing up some of the customer queries is going to make it a very powerful way to drive content visibility, as well as improve the customer engagement. If you get into the next slide, now all of this is not fraught with challenges, right? New technology brings new set of challenges, and for regulated industries like financial services and credit unions and credit unions bank, there are huge challenges. The first party data with basically Google announcing the death to third party cookies and literally getting rid of third party cookies, we are really living in a cookieless world, and where first party data is going to be critical. Now, first, collecting and maintaining and managing first party data means that you are going to be investing significantly in the infrastructure. A lot of our the second big thing is the big challenge is going to be cloud acceleration. Now, a lot of even larger organizations are still on-prem software. That is preventing them from scaling their operation. That is preventing them from basically delivering a lot of these experiences that they have built at the edge of the network. Building your stack, building an agile stack on the cloud is going to be almost necessary if you want to even start building and scaling your operations for newer technologies. Some of the advanced cloud features like can I just drop in a location page? Can I just create a regional experience? I have some very strong focus in Southern California. Can I build some additional bandwidth, or can I put in additional servers so that my customers coming in from the Southern California region can have a better experience? All of this needs and requirements have to be can be met once you start accelerate some of the cloud deployment. GenAI, and the third bit of is the GenAI personalization and digital experiences. All of this need multiple teams in your organizations to work together. If there is content team, there is paid team, there's your design teams, your SEO teams, analytics teams, and your banking operations team. All of them need to work together because the goals start muddling with each other. When I talk about personalization, I want to know which products I want to personalize on. I want to talk about credit cards. That's an interesting offering. Now, how do I personalize my website for credit cards? How do I personalize my website for mortgage loans? So there is and how, if I'm running a paid campaign, how do I make sure that I carry my paid campaign customer into my website, personalize the experience for the paid campaigns that they have seen, that as soon as they come to my website, they continue that same experience. So which means that website is not just a siloed organization anymore that is just building and deploying website. Every single part of your organization needs to start contributing to it. So which means organizations really need to start thinking about how they can break down silos. And increasing data collection, increasing use of GenAI, increasing personalization means increased regulation. And that is essentially going to be an exponential growth in regulation, compliance, and oversight, which means organizationally you need to be prepared to work with increased regulation as you are thinking about scaling and growing your organization for the new age of search. now moving on, what are the must-haves, right? We talked about a whole lot of things that are there, that is out there, and there is a whole lot of things we talked about. What are the challenges? What is the evolving market trends? This is almost the pivotal time for financial industry to sort of focus on a digital transformation, right? And this is almost mandated. It's not even something that we can say that, oh, this is an optional transformation. Everybody needs to start thinking about, how do I expand my base of operations? How do I deepen some of the products and services? And in order for me to deepen some of my products and services, I need to think about, how do I identify my customers and deliver personalized experience for each and every customer? How do I retain my customer? How do I make sure my CSAT scores are high? How do I do that without throwing too much of building too much of overhead within my organization, right? How do I leverage Gen AI to build automation? All of this is just building up to this point of a significant digital transformation that is almost mandated within the financial services industry. And where does Milestone fit in all of this? We've been and as we think about these top digital marketing trends, what is that we've been thinking about is, we are understanding how search works. We understand how to deliver digital experience, and we understand how to take some of these multi-search elements that we see in this ecosystem, and take them and convert them into products and solutions and features on top of our platform, with which it's easier to build and deploy. Of course, we cannot help too much with regulation by regulation and compliance, but we will be your best partner in making sure that as we are building highly secure, highly scalable, highly configurable platform, with which you can actually start thinking of, you don't have to worry about the digital trends per se, but you have to think about your customers and what your customer challenges are. And we start partnering with you on how we can transform our platform or morph our platform to accommodate to some of your needs. And in that aspect, we have started thinking about, how do I take add CDP to our platform so that we can start doing first-party data tracking? How do we build content at scale through generative AI? How do I build a CMS that can transform that has a composable content? I can take a content, publish it on the website. I can take a content, save content, transform it, and publish it on a blog, or I can create a PR campaign out of it, or I can create a social post out of it. And how do I optimize my local listings within that single platform? How do I make sure that the same data that is there in my platform is published everywhere, so that there is unified view of my business? And of course, making sure that data we are collecting can be synthesized into one performance data platform that can be either viewed on our platform or given to data warehouse for further consumption and distribution. With this preamble, what I want to give you a handoff to Mike is, I want to hand off to Mike with who is going to bring to you a whole lot of case study and whole lot of demos with which we are solving some of these basic problems that we feel as almost mandated for a success in financial services.
Excellent. All right, Sathya, thank you so much. So, my goal here is to now sort of show how we address these trends from a technology and an execution standpoint. And when you're looking at that, you want to be making sure that your tech stack is enabling you to take advantage of where the future of search is heading. Because at the end of the day, you're looking to drive, whether it's that customer acquisition, new member signups, or member acquisition. And so really being able to apply your technology against where these different trends are heading. So what do we mean when we say discovery first? Again, you need to make sure that as you are building your home, building your website presence, it is able to be crawled, indexed, and found. And there's a lot of technology elements that go into that. You're going to making sure Google can crawl you and see you. Google is changing their algorithm all the time, not just Google, the other search engines as well, but often leading the charge. And you want to make sure that your platform has the structure to support those latest changes so that you don't need to have a technical team, whether in-house or external, constantly focusing on these changes and layering it on top. Having these elements built in at the core layer and core level of the platform ensures that as changes happen, your site is still performing and showing your content the best. So, looking from terms of speed, is the site built in a way that will load and render a great user experience for those consumers and members on the site? Is it coded in a way that is best for Google and search bots to crawl it and understand your overall architecture, understand your sitemaps, what pages are connected to where, so that when people are searching for your deeper offerings and services, Google can connect those dots and pull it in. And speaking of connecting dots, Sathya touched on schemas. There's a programming language that helps search engines understand the different facets of your business. And we like to use the term entities, but who you are as a business, who the people are, the key members of your organization, or your different locations if you're a multi-branch business, and the different products and services you have, allowing Google and the other search engines to understand the full details of those offerings and connect the dots for how they're connected, or how the different elements play together, so that as users on search engines are looking for a particular function or service or feature that you offer, your content can be served to deliver the most helpful, relevant answers to their queries. And of course, actionable insights. Does your platform take in this data, understand the user behavior, and kind of help direct what to do, where to go next, what to write about, where your gaps are, so that you can fill those and be meeting users where they need to be met. Just a quick deeper look into schema if you're unfamiliar, but again, schema is a structured data. Schema.org is an open consortium formed by multiple search groups a while back. But again, it really is about helping the search engines understand who you are and what you do, and building up that knowledge graph. And we're seeing a lot of this is feeding today how AI search is evolving. The ability for search engines to answer user queries, to suggest content and drive that conversational search forward hinges on their ability to understand your content well. And so by wrapping your content with that structured data, it allows these connections to be made. And having a platform that will do this for you natively allows you to focus on just creating your content, adding your products, adding your services, creating your new campaigns. And then the platform wraps it with that structured data, so it doesn't have to be a thought that's top of mind for your team. It can, every time you create new content and new pages, that's just delivered to the search engines directly. And Sathya spoke about the importance of visual assets too. So content isn't just about the text on the page, but giving those additional visual contextual pieces to the search engines, driving that visual experience for your customers and your members. And so one way to think through that is as you're bringing your assets together, can you use technology now to understand, before you even use an asset, understand how it will be understood by the search engines? Will Google and the others see what is in your image, see from an engineer standpoint, understand the pieces of that? Is it something that's high enough quality and it'll be delivered? So we built that into our digital asset manager to help ensure that you can pick from those right pieces. And I'll show a little bit, out of the slides and do a little bit of demo to show how you can technically kind of execute this to help your digital strategies. Personalization being a big thing. How is the platform set up to enable you to identify and recognize patterns, whether it's in browsing behavior, where people are coming from, both from actual search traffic or physically in the world, and showing them a personal experience on your site that delivers content that is more relevant to them, more relevant to their queries. Why did they land on your site and get in there from search or from a paid campaign? And as the experience on your site evolving and matching their expectation to continue to drive them further into that search decision-making funnel, higher engagement, higher conversions. And we'll show a little bit about this too. AI is a very big buzzword. There are many areas that can be used well, many areas that are still experimental. Our approach to AI, particularly from a generative experience, is about how can we use that to create improved efficiencies? How can we use AI to help different parts of your content creation journey so that you're still fully involved as humans, bringing the right information and the right human experience to your end users and consumers, but leveraging AI to ensure that you can do that more efficiently, and bringing in, whether it's from the research process, understanding where your content gaps are, those content intelligence, where do you, using data to back the opportunities, what content can you add to your site that will help you compete with your competitors, that will help give you more visibility in organic search, ensuring that you're able to incorporate your brand tone and voice into all of that, not just creating a block of content, but a piece of content that is optimized for users and search, that will be crawled and indexed, and that you can then build into your regulatory workflows and publication to make sure you get the appropriate sign off from different whether it's legal teams or other teams that you may have in your content creation process, and get that to the publication stage, and of course being able to track the effectiveness and success of those. And then once you kind of built your core site, your elements, you've got your technical elements taken care of, your helpful content, your personalized journeys, tying that back together in the wider web ecosystem. An ideal world would be, as Sathya mentioned, using that same core database that powers the content about your business on your website to also power the information that gets fed into local search, like your Google business profile listings, making sure that you have a consistency in that information, so that people, when they're searching in Google, find you, what they find matches and drives back to the appropriate parts of the site. So optimizing that local search, driving people back both to your website and in the real world, and ensuring you have that consistency of data leveraged everywhere. So I'll jump in just and show a couple of these from an execution standpoint in a moment, but really tying this all together as you're thinking through the needs for your tech stack, and what are the pieces that will really help evolve your website into an e-commerce engine for member acquisition or customer acquisition, ensuring that you have the elements that are necessary to give that visibility to your users, to help you create the content, to optimize your assets, and understand where you could be really creating those next pieces of data and information that will drive that flow. And are the elements that you don't want to have to think about in the lift. Is the SEO built in there for you, so that as search evolves, you continue to focus on your campaigns and your content and your business, while the platform takes those lifts off of you. And at the end of the day, ensuring all those elements are there to be driving those specific leads for the core facets of your business. So I think with that, I kind of want to jump a little bit into our platform and think about, Sathya mentioned, sometimes in finance, whether they're larger businesses, you may have your website on a large kind of monolithic platform. Smaller, local branches and things may have individual websites. So as you're looking for a platform, I think through, does the platform support the ability to quickly kind of create new, flexible, nimble, highly personalized content, websites that meet your needs, pages and content pieces. So allow from simple templates that are built in your brand style. Can you quickly spin up this necessary information that brings all of this technology and content together, all the necessary elements? Again, whether you need to create a full site, standalone microsite for particular campaigns, or even just kind of paid marketing campaign or email campaign landing pages, to quickly be able to place these, and within just a few moments, come back in here, and it will then spin up a new site and a new home from where you can now create your actual content. So as we go into this, so just spun up a quick site for a finance demo. Now I have, within a few minutes or moments, have the ability to then go and start editing and managing and creating my content. So as we talked through, are you able to not just edit the text and other elements, but some of the meta information without having to get into the programming? Does it support that simple, easy editing, so that you don't need to be an engineer to get in and manage all of the different elements, from links to meta information and alt text and all of those pieces? And this is where we start looking at the concept around that image assets, and starting to use AI in your platforms. So, and a lot of the talk about AI is around creating things, but what we've built in our platform is the use of Google's Vision API, which is a different type of AI to understand how Google views your assets before you even choose, what to include in your site. And so what you can see here is in this asset, every image that's loaded in here, gets scored from a quality standpoint, and also you see from a safe search standpoint. And what this does is allows you to sort of score and rank all of your assets from a view of how does Google see these, or how will Google perceive these, and search engines perceive these on your site. So want to make sure that you're using quality images, and quality can mean a bunch of different things, whether it's the depth of field or the pixelation, or, and things that it might look okay to a human eye. As you can see, some of these lower quality listed look okay, but clearly, the search engine is seeing something a little bit different. So picking high quality images that will allow your site and content to be ranked and show well, but also safe search. So if you're unfamiliar with this, Google has categories of imagery and search results that if they flag or trigger content that in these areas of adult, spoof, medical, violence, or racy, your content may not show to all users. And what's interesting is you're using AI, you can see even before you choose or to use an asset, how the search engines would perceive these. So for example, here's an image of a woman on her computer on a couch. For whatever reason here, Google has tagged this as very likely to be racy, which means as somebody managing the content on your site, if you were to choose this image, it was less likely that it would actually appear in search. Therefore, what you want to do is, even though it's high quality, you recommend your team choose a different image that doesn't get flagged from a safe search standpoint. So you're setting yourself up for success even before you're adding the content live. You're creating and adding content that will be viewed and understood better by the search engine, so it can be delivered more effectively. Diving even deeper beyond just the quality and the safety of the images, we can use AI to sort of understand some of the entities or the components that Google is seeing here. So in this case, it's an image of a MasterCard, but Google, for some reason, didn't quite get that from and thinks that it's a communication device. In which case, again, if I'm creating a new page or campaign, pitching on new credit card services, I see that this image, Google didn't quite understand that it's a credit card. Use a different one of my assets instead. Again, setting you up for success before you even publish your content, to know how search engines will perceive it. So great way to leverage the use of AI in your content creation standpoints. Beyond the additional creation and editing and managing of your content, you also want to make sure that you have the ability to create these custom landing pages, whether it's for paid marketing campaigns, email marketing campaigns. So having the flexibility to create these on the fly. So if we go create a kind of webinar page at the moment here, and having a platform that would allow you to start, have a template that includes your header and your footer, and then you can quickly start going in and add different components, so that in a matter of minutes you can create kind of a customized feel of this content, leveraging your assets, leveraging your different brand guidelines and your headers and your footers, and making sure that you've got everything in here, and then being able to quickly generate these pages. Think from that SEO technology standpoint, and you want to think through, is this a page that I want indexed by search engines or not? Is this for a paid campaign and I want this as a standalone so it can only be found when I'm driving people specifically there to that? And being able to do those kinds of things without engineering is very helpful, team, to help drive the speed and efficiency. So you think right here, do I want this page to be visible to search or not? The paid marketing landing page, and being able to make that decision, adding my meta titles and my meta descriptions without having to get into the code. And then when you added your content, you're ready to go, either previewing it or simply publishing it and having that go. And as an important piece, beyond just the creation of the content and the creation of your landing pages, you want to think through your broader campaign and marketing strategy. If you're driving and creating these types of campaigns, do you want to be able to build A/B testing strategies around this? You're thinking through, are there different ways you could focus on the conversion elements? If you have, you're trying to get people to submit a form or to click a button to contact you. So being able to quickly deploy the testing and A/B testing right within the platform. Selecting, let's see if we look for this page here that I just created. We can go ahead in there. We can choose, okay, well, I want to be starting my strategy. I'm going to go ahead and start my testing and run that for a week, and choose one or more different variations of the page where I want it to end, set my traffic percentage. Do I want to make this a pure 50-50 test? Or I just want, am I looking just for a little bit of a test today on this new page I've created? And going ahead and setting this so you're ready to roll. Making the key focus around ease of use and integrating that into your overall campaigns and overall platform strategy. So, does your tech stack allow you to do the things you need to do? Does it integrate different parts? Does it enable different members of teams? Maybe allow your organic teams, your paid teams, your email teams to come together and create campaigns working off of the same assets, so that you're really leveraging the efficiency of your team to build complicated campaigns. I think just one of the elements while we're in the platform, and it comes back to that overall understanding, and we talked about SEO first, and I had a slide on this earlier, but things that you want to think about. If your platform doesn't do it for you, you want to make sure that you're paying attention to these elements. But this is where having that SEO first element really comes into play. What is it that Google is looking at? Are your pages being built well? And are you constantly monitoring those elements? Are you looking at ensuring that those key technical aspects are running, are functioning? If there are errors, is there, the platform team, in our case, our platform team is paying attention to these and always making those adjustments so that is handled at a core platform level, and that's something that you need to pay attention to or worry about at the site. From an SEO technical standpoint, even things critical around accessibility conformance, the ADA conformance. Is your site automatically checking for those things? Are you, delivering a site that is accessible to all users, so that you can continue to provide that great user experience and drive those conversions, regardless of any accessibility needs that may be required from those end users. And I think as we're talking about sort of content creation, I think that one of the core elements to continue to kind of touch on that aspect of using AI in your systems. So we talked briefly about the AI Content Studio. So I wanted to do a quick show. What does that mean in reality? How can you use AI not just to generate content, but to create overall efficiencies and workflows? So the way we've approached that is starting from the beginning. We call it content intelligence, and I talked about helping identify gaps in your content and opportunities, and using data to back and understand the strategies of what to create and when. So there's that quick dashboard of here setting up for a demo finance business, but the way that they approach content intelligence is by having the engine and our platform look at the content that's on your site today, looking at the content that is on multiple competitors' sites, ingesting that into our platform, and looking then and running that against current search trends in your area or areas, depending on your multi-location business. What are your potential customers looking for now is trending on Google, and creating this topic set in areas that we split into. We call them new, competitive, and rich results. And what it does is it creates these content based on your current content, your competitors, and what the opportunities are in the space. Certain number of ideas, what the search volume is for content in those topics, how much of that traffic you are currently capturing today, and what that opportunity of traffic would be for you to capture if you were to start building campaigns and content strategies around these different topics. And so we break that into new, competitive, and rich results. New being, hey, here's content that has active search volume for your target consumers in Google today, and you don't have a whole lot of area. We call this, content gaps. So what are those? And looking at specific topics, then broken down. What is the search volume for those topics? How complicated or difficult would it be to rank for that based on the competitive nature of those terms? What is that, your traffic share, and what could you grab? And same content across competitive. These are the things that your competitors are talking about and ranking really well for, but that you have an opportunity, you have a gap in your site content. Rich results being, these are the types of topics that are driving more visibility on search engines, aside from just those plain, those top organic links, things that are driving more of that AI search conversation that people also ask, questions and answers that you see in Google search results pages or other rich results in search pages. So having content in these topics will help drive that additional organic search visibility. So this, again, in terms of backing the topic opportunities with data and helping you kind of prioritize and integrate these topics into your overall marketing strategy. Of course, you want to be able to create strong, rich content and drafts, and AI is only as good as the questions that you ask it. We'll try to make that simple and have stronger output without having to make you be an engineering wizard or a prompt engineering wizard. And to do that, we might want to make sure that the content that you're generating sounds like you, speaks to you. And so you build, we call it brand voice into this. And so we have a brand voice document that talks about your business. What is the type of vocabulary that you use? What is your tone and your principles? And this content gets included into the prompt. So every type of output will feel like you. Again, if you don't have your own brand voice documentation, leverage AI to help create that as well. Feed in existing pieces of content that you already have today, whether it's from email campaigns, on your website, things that you feel really speak to who you are as a business. Feed that content into the platform and allow it to analyze and create that broader brand voice document for you so that you can then be creating new content pieces with consistency, whether it's one team member, internal team members, external agencies, all coming from that same central focal point, and creating content that sounds like you in the first place and to the right target audience. So who are your core target audiences? And again, setting what are your defaults. You can always change these on the fly because we know businesses always have more than one target. You may have a particular campaign with a unique target, but what is your core and your home that you want to then be able to work off of? Of course, then the critical piece, once you have these all set and you want to be creating some content, pick a topic that makes sense, that you have a gap that fits in with your content strategy. Generating it with AI will then allow you to, what are some of the keywords that are trending now that fit into this core topic? Do you have any additional instructions you want to include or campaign elements do you want to tie this back into? Do you want to create an outline or do you want to create a rich draft for your team to work from? When you start to create the content, this is where the engine then pulls all those elements together for you about your business, who you are, your voice, your tone, the keywords, the topics, all of that sort of target audience elements. And then pulls in a draft. So I mentioned you want to keep humans involved, but this is where you can have one person, multiple team members come in. It doesn't just create a piece of text output, but it gives you this additional elements like an excerpt, your meta information, meta description, trying to generating those elements that will help make that discoverable and visible. You can continue to start editing the content right away. You can look at from an SEO and a discoverability standpoint. What are things that, again, none of these are required fields, but to be able to create content, what is the type of content right now that seems to be signaling Google and search engines better? It enables them to crawl it and understand it more effectively. So are you using your key phrases throughout the platform or the content in certain ways? Are you meeting certain recommended content length pieces? Are you including imagery in here or not? Again, you're clicking back into to pull your assets from the digital asset manager, pulling relevant, strong quality imagery with entity elements that support your content. So as you make these changes and adjustments, your score improves. Again, the goal being to help drive your team to create that highly optimized content written for people, get those elements in here, have people help adjust and drive that, but then also signaling the right things to search so that it can be crawled and discovered. Of course, from a regulatory standpoint, if you're within our CMS platform, you can publish it immediately. You can have other team members log into the platform to do their sign-offs. You can also, for third-party platforms, or if you need to build this into a regulatory workflow, simple to export the content in different formats so that you can then have, whether it's a legal team or a compliance team review it, making sure that you have the ability to do that so that you can still leverage what's there from AI, incorporate people into the mix, enhance and edit and bring those elements in, and still get the sign-offs that you need. So when you eventually publish your content, again, you're doing it in a way that's saving you time in different elements and maximizing the availability of technology to have high quality end content that's reaching and meeting your users and delivering what they need in the moment. So I think with that, I'm going to go ahead and hop back into as a quick note on the case study before we open for questions, because as we're bringing together technology and thinking about all the elements and the trends that Sathya was talking about, what does that mean for you at the end of the day? There's a lot of business challenges that we're seeing today. User experience can be disconnected across large, complex sites or multi-sites or different campaign platforms. As a business, how are you able to bring the data together, understand all the different parts of your campaign strategies, maybe across different platforms, your listings and your website connected or interconnected? Are do you have the right tech stack that you need that gives you that enterprise class technology while still making it a clear user experience for you? So, how do we connect those dots, connecting your sites, bringing it to a unified experience, allowing our customers to visualize that data, tying their platform, their web local presence together with their CMS, giving the tech needs that they have, and at the end of the day, helping revamp. Again, a case study here with one Nevada credit union as an example. taking a nice site, but bringing that to from a nice site to really an e-commerce engine, driving member acquisition for them across multiple elements. What does that mean? Being able to from a web traffic standpoint, huge increase in overall impressions to the content, driving more clicks actually into the website. Not obviously thinking about where is the user today, thinking on that heavily mobile first experience and driving those users in the moment when they're thinking about what their needs are when they're out and about for their day. Are you able to meet that and deliver that rich experience? So continue to drive those leads, those directions, those calls from that local experience. And again, what does that mean though? From that member acquisition, really bringing the people in, ensuring your funnels are optimized to those different revenue touch points. So whether it's your mortgage loans, your home loans, personal loans, vehicle loans, driving those users. It's not just about the increase in visibility and discoverability, but once you have them on site, bring them into your funnel and deliver the experience they need, showcasing your offerings to really help drive that home. So key takeaways, customers and members, they're expecting you to serve them what they need. That's expectation of users today. So give them the best experience from what you have. Give them a personalized experience. Deliver them what they need in the moment across your site. And making sure that you are leveraging your teams and the technology today to help improve and enhance your efficiencies. So again, thinking through your must-haves. When you're looking at your tech stack, looking at how you're presenting yourself, are you aligned with your customer journey? Is your platform delivering what they need across all those moments? Are you setting yourself up to deliver in the future of search, to signal to search engines so they can understand your content, bring people to your site, and focus on those conversion elements? Again, Gar mentioned we'll be sharing this information in this deck out later. You'll be able to click on this link from here as well. But if you haven't had a chance, awesome tips as well from the team to put together on really how to help transform your site into that member acquisition channel. So a great ebook here for you today. And then Gaurav, I'm going to go ahead and pause and hand this back to you.
Thanks, Mike and Satya. I got a lot of questions. Mike, right away, Jai Kirat's mentioned here in chat saying how seamless is the experience of generating content on Content Studio inside the Milestone CMS while building out websites. So if you could sort of comment on that.
Sure. Yeah. As you know, our AI Studio works with our platform, our CMS, works with third parties. It's obviously a more integrated solution out of the box for our CMS. When you create a piece of content, you can publish to anywhere on your site. So if you have a new package or a new offering, a new service, you can build it and publish it to that section of the site. If it's a blog content, if you're and enhancing existing content, so it is built in and integrated to make really seamless, quick and easy publishing. If you're already on our platform.
Thank you. I also got a question directly. If we were to bring in generative AI, what should be, because we saw a lot of things here, what should be a starting point for a bank or a financial services firm? Where should we start? Satya or Mike, if you could please take that.
I'll start, and then Mike, why don't you jump in as well? So the key part of this is about, as Mike pointed out, understanding what to write and building up this database of helpful content. But it does not stop there. Unfortunately, for financial services, you cannot publish everything. You need to go through a compliance loop, making sure that all of this has checks and balances. Some of the best practices for financial services is having an author, having a link to the author is considered a good best practice. Our tool also brings in things like plagiarism checker, make sure that duplicate content checker, and human scoring as well. All of this is basically provided inbuilt into our platform. Before you even submit it for compliance, making sure that you have not just SEO optimized content, but also high human scoring content together with good score on plagiarism and duplicate check. Then you can start submit it to the compliance and regulatory bodies for sign off. Mike?
Nothing additional to add, really. I mean, it's just about ensuring that you are meeting kind of your workflow needs and thinking through how do we keep people in the right places and how we're really just kind of leveraging the aspects of enhanced efficiencies and coming back and reevaluating your cycle. How can you continue to improve?
Awesome. There was another question on cookieless browsing and how do you navigate that for a bank and credit union financial services sites with all these changes happening, Sathya?
I think CDP is going to be almost mandatory. Having some form of CDP in your tech stack is going to be required. Now, CDP brings together additional security requirements and additional regulatory constraints. You need to make sure your privacy policy, your consent, all of that every single state has passed some form of law on first-party data tracking. So you are basically complying with all of this. You are providing proper visibility to, if you are an international customer, you are providing proper visibility to making sure you're compliant with additional international laws as well in terms of first-party data tracking is going to be critical. Now, compliance and consent management and privacy policy aside, first-party data tracking also, you need to build in security layers on top of it, making sure that you have right set of people who have access to it. Now, that is on the infrastructure, getting the CDP on. Once you have the CDP on, then you need to work with your internal teams on what to track, how to track, and then how to leverage this data to build customer journey on your website.
Makes sense. Satya, to follow through on that second part, if you could please take that, like once you have the data and it's all unified with profiles and everything, what can you give a couple of examples of what the customer personalization experiences could look on a bank or a credit union website?
Right. So at Milestone, we have looked at some of these sites and we have built some recipes on what type of typical personalization journeys look like. For example, we run a paid campaign for a specific credit card or a credit card offer that you have. You then run not just whatever the customer clicks on the credit card offer and comes to the website, you continue the journey and continue to personalize that journey by building cohorts for that customer on your website. So essentially what you're doing is you're connecting your paid channel and your website into one seamless experience. The second thing is the customer shows specific interest. So the second thing is sort of behavioral. So this is what we call as channel-based personalization. The other type of things that recipes are a person showing a lot more interest in mortgage rates and tries to fill out forms on mortgage pages or try to reach out to mortgage loan officers. Then you can continue working, continue changing the experience on bringing up more mortgage offers on your website, making them aware of more and more mortgage offers. Brand new customers for whom you want to target them for new accounts and stuff like that, you can start offering them what are your checking account rates and what are your savings account rates, CDs, upsells, and things like that for your existing customers. All of these are workflows that we have recipes built around. Definitely, some of these recipes are fairly simplistic, simple to implement. But as the customer journeys become more and more complex and more products get involved, we need to start thinking about how do we blend some of these journeys into one cohesive experience across our website.
Awesome. Any other questions from anybody else? Beyond that, I just have one more item. If you need us to look at your digital presence on a one-on-one basis, then please fill out this form, request an audit, or send an email, and then we will work with you for your accounts. The other thing is that in June, everything is not final yet, but we will most likely be running a banking-focused webinar with a very reputed bank. So I will be sending out all that information. Please look out for that. This will be a continuation of that series. For what you see today to that one, so that's going to be exciting. So that's going to be coming up. Yeah, so those two things from our side, and please look at our website, join our events. We really appreciate it. We spend a lot of time preparing this content, so we really appreciate the time. So thank you for joining this webinar. Thanks, Mike, Sathya, and everybody else. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Appreciate the time.